during the Second World War, Notre Dame at the time, this was in the 40s, was a very small school. And it was a men's school, and maybe I don't know how many students they had. When I went there in '55, they only had 5,500 students, men. But during the war, there were so many young people going into the service that Notre Dame almost went out of business. They didn't have enough students to create, money to hold the education. Well, the Naval Department cut a deal with the university, and they started an ROTC program for the Navy, and the Navy sent tons of people there and paid for them to get their education. Matter of fact, we have the only other man in here who has a connection to Notre Dame, a graduate, is a fellow who's probably in his 80s. He went through Notre Dame on that type of program. They had a name for the program, but they basically kept Notre Dame in business during the war until the war was over. And then a lot of the kids came back, and they started to build up their.
Lots of schools do that. Yeah.
Well, Notre Dame was so small
Yeah.
that they were literally, and so anyway, the reason they continue to play Navy, it's a loyalty thing.
Yeah.
So they both agreed we'll continue to play. They played for, 67, since the war, for a long time. So that was a spin-off of an issue which I, of course, didn't live through, but I heard the stories and read about it. But one of the causes of the war, it almost put a good university out of business. And so that's how, and they stayed in business through the program they set up with the Navy Department.
Wow.
And they still, even when I was there, they had a very active ROTC program and Navy program, and they still have it to this day. So, but anyway, it was all brought on by the war and the lack of male bodies.
And the lack of marriageable people too. There was so many men just disappearing.
I know even when I was there in the 50s, there were several kids that came back from the Korean War and were on the football team. And I'm 17 years old, these guys were in their 20s. They're sophomores and juniors, they're almost 10 years older than I am. That was an interesting experience too, but another war, another time.